But we actually have a very rich and diverse history in Alabama. Get your phones out and log in. We actually have a very rich and diverse history. So what I thought is, instead of just talking at you about higher education in Alabama, which is where I've made my career, I thought we'd just play a game and see how much you already actually know. So we'll give our recent additions a chance to log in. And if you guys who don't have phones want to pair up with some of our phone-friendly people, please do. All right, is everybody logged in?
Yeah.
Are you feeling better?
Yeah. It's not right.
I got to go through these a little faster with this session than I did with the last one. I was a little chatty the last time, so you guys have to just understand. It's an occupational hazard. I'm used to having a group of people who sit and listen to everything I say, because college students, they're paying a lot for that class. All right, is everybody logged in? You guys all?
Yes.
www.it. All right, everybody ready?
Almost.
All right, are you Isabel?
I am.
All right, well, I can tell you, and Isabel won the last time, so it's a good one then. Let's get started. Question number 1, how many Alabamians have a college degree? 50%, 75%, 25%, or 10%? Okay, nobody got that right. Now here's what's interesting. Did any of our paper folks guess 25%? So here's why is that important? Why is it important for us to think about how many people have a college degree? What does having a college degree mean?
Going to college and graduating.
Graduating from college, absolutely. But what's going to happen after that?
Have a degree, you can go into a field.
More money.
You earn more money.
Yay.
Who said that?
Him.
You earn more money. You're going to earn roughly 50% more by having a college degree than not having a college degree. There are lots of professions that are closed to you without a college degree. If you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a nurse, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be an accountant, if you want to be a lawyer, all of those require further education. Now, this is important to us as a state because it's also very much, if you get people like Senator Orr and all those Montgomery folks to talk, it's about jobs. And it's about high-tech jobs. So even if you say, you know what, I don't want to mess with being a doctor, I don't want to mess with being a lawyer, I really want to work in a place where I can work with my hands. But if you're thinking about running a business, let's say you want to be a mechanic or a plumber, or if you want to work at the new Toyota Mazda plant across the river, many of those types of professions require a form of higher education. Because the worst thing that's going to happen if you're a plumber and running a small business, what if you don't understand accounting? What if you don't understand management and how to keep track of your employees? What if you don't know how to balance your books? You can find that you can make a lot of money, but I can guarantee you there'll also be somebody who can take a lot of money from you. So your further education is about job opportunities, it's about further earnings, and it's also about just our collective society. We can attract better jobs, better industries to the state when we have a better educated population. Now, I like the fact that you guys were ambitious and said 75%, 50%, that's great. But it's not the reality of Alabama. Actually, 24.8% of Alabamians possess a bachelor's degree or higher. When you get to masters and PhDs, it gets even less. So nobody has any points as we go into the next question. The oldest institution in Alabama. University of Alabama, Auburn University, University of North Alabama, or the University of Montverde. 10 seconds. North Alabama was actually founded in 1830, the University of Alabama in 1831. And the reason we consider those the oldest institutions in Alabama is because they were founded as colleges. The actual oldest institution of learning in Alabama is the Athens Female Academy, founded in 1822, which later on in 1974 became Athens State College, and now is Athens State University. But what this does show you is that education's been around a long time. We've been doing a lot of learning in Alabama for quite a long time. And so one of the things to be mindful of is that the history of these institutions is long, rich, and quite diverse. The oldest institution that's predominantly black is Alabama State University, that was founded in 67. I kept wanting to say 57. 1867, Alabama State. And so we have lots of institutions that are forming. The other thing that's very funny is that a lot of these institutions are going to change names over time. UNA has had 7 names. So as we look at the history of these institutions, we know these are long evolving institutions. Now we finally got some people with points. Amber, where are you? All right, Amber, that gets you the car, or the keychain to go with the car. So, yeah, you can get a College of Arts and Sciences keychain, so it's not a car, but it goes with a car. See, there are prizes. This day isn't nearly as dull as some of you want to make it out to be. All right, let's look at our next question. What university's teams are known as the Plainsmen? University of Alabama, University of South Alabama, Auburn University, or Troy University?
South Alabama. How about University of
All right. Nobody got it right. Auburn's an interesting institution. It actually has 3 official nicknames, and the Plainsman is one of them. You probably know the Embarrassing Tigers.
You went there.
It's called the loveliest village on the plains, and the newspaper is called the Plainsman. But one of the things that it highlights to us is that what most people know about higher education in Alabama is due to athletics. If you just read AL.com yesterday, you'll see that Bryant-Denny Stadium is getting a $92 million renovation project to put up new screens and skyboxes and all kinds of luxury suites for big, fat cats who donate lots of money. Now, what makes this a bit of a problem, I'm on the academic side of the house, and I'm looking at $92 million, and I'm thinking, that's a lot of stuff we can buy. That's a lot of scholarships to give. That's new buildings for classrooms and offices and research. But what we do need to be mindful of is that in many cases, athletics are what drive our recruitment and publicity efforts for institutions in Alabama. And if you go outside of the state, most people know Alabama and Auburn as football schools. What's also important to understand, though, is that those athletic programs, for good or bad, are also part of the economic drivers of the state and of those institutions. So when you can spend $92 million on a football stadium, it's also because millions of dollars have been poured into the university through other means. The University of Alabama only has 40% of its current student population from Alabama. And those individuals that are paying out-of-state tuition are paying nearly double what we pay as Alabama residents. And that tuition money is a large part of the equation of how universities are funded. In Alabama, about 20% of a university's funding comes from the state. And that means the rest of that funding has to come from someplace else, most of that coming from tuition dollars. So as we talk about the cost of education, which might be a question in a minute, that's why your education is so expensive if you go on to a university, because you're the ones paying to keep the lights on, pay the faculty salaries, keep the grass mowed, build new buildings, ensure research and progress is being made at the institution. Amber, you're still in the lead. Congratulations. You got some people creeping up behind you, though, I gotta say. I'm impressed, so good luck. Let's see what question 4 is about. What is tuition at the University of Alabama? Less than $30,000 for tuition and board, more than $30,000 for tuition and board, less than $20,000 for tuition and board, or it's just free.
Trying to,
Yeah, trust me. It was. I come back to school again.
it's
I
tough.
love being a student.
Less than 30.
All right.
Who
You got
guessed?
it right. Are you just an expert shopper and you know the price of everything?
No, I just took a guess.
Okay. Well, it is expensive. It's actually $30,388 for a year's tuition at the University of Alabama. That's your tuition, your books, and your room and board. So your dorm's going to cost you a lot of money. Now multiply that times 4, which is the average number of years that a person goes to achieve a baccalaureate degree. Now we're talking about $120,000 to get a bachelor's degree. Now, why is this so important? Well, first off, it's an important decision that you all have to make financially.
It's only 2.
But back to the original point, a college degree means higher earnings. So this degree is an investment in your future. You have to look at it that way. You also have to look at the fact that this tuition is supporting groundbreaking research. Has anybody here ever known somebody who had their knee replaced or had knee surgery? Anybody who's ever had a heart transplant or maybe had open heart surgery because of a heart attack? Well, you can say thank you to the researchers and staff members at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. Much of that type of research that has perfected these techniques that are saving lives and improving lives all across the world, not just in Alabama, were perfected right here in the state, right at Birmingham and UAB at the medical school. But that kind of research is very expensive. That type of research requires, in some cases, millions and millions of dollars. Years and years of experimentation, especially when we talk about medical research. And so